What's up? This is Casey. This is Coach Tom. This is Shot Science Overtime number 130. We tried it just a little while ago, and then we had a freeze on the stream. So we're going to try it again real quick and do a little short abbreviated show. So what we do every week is that we have a topic that we talk about, something that we think is going to help you guys become a better basketball player, develop your skills. Just something that you can take from this thing that we know is good info. Yeah. So what we're going to talk about today is just how to have a really good first step and how to beat your defender off that first step. And a lot of people think that it's something that you have to have kind of this incredible athleticism for, or there's some secret tip or trick. That's a little bit true. I mean, our secret tip right now is going to be what we're going to share with you. But what are some thoughts that you have on that?
Well, one of the things that we talked about earlier is that used to be when coaches offensively were coaching their players to attack defenders, defenders tended to have a foot forward. And I can remember that very vividly when I was a young coach. You always had 1 foot forward, and typically it was the one that was through the inside of the floor. And that pretty soon offensive players and coaches were starting to attack that high foot. And as you attack the high foot, it was they would get to that foot right away and kind of force you to take and open up. Well, now defense kind of evolved over a period of time, and that defense now has become more where they will square up to the guy with the basketball. And by squaring up is their feet are square to them, and they're trying to take and maintain a position in front of that offensive player. In fact, when we coach it, we usually talk in terms of we want to keep that offensive player between our knees. We don't want to allow them to get outside. Well, that being the case, we have a technique that we use and teach to everybody, and that is we're going to attack our defender with a long one-on-one attack. And the long one-on-one attack has several parts. Number one, we're going to attack their hip. We don't want to swing around them wide to avoid contact. We really want to initiate some of that contact, because oftentimes it's going to put them in a situation where they're going to get a defensive call against them. All right, so what we want to do is we're going to attack that hip, whichever side is that we're going to go, and we would look to try and get hip-to-hip contact if we can. And that the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take and reach out with a long step, and that long step is hopefully going to put us just a bit beyond their foot.
Yeah, I like to call it beat their feet.
Yeah, beat their feet, that's a good idea. And so anyway, we're going to take and reach out with that long step. Now, the thing that follows that up is this. They may try to get a position in front of you and maintain that position of keeping you between the knees. They're going to be moving in that situation, and so if they are moving and there is contact, rightfully the foul should be on them. So when we're taking that long step, we're following that immediately with a longer dribble. I watch players all the time, and they start to attack the basket. The first thing they do is they take a short step, and they drop the ball right near their first step. And it's easy for defensive people just to reach across and flip that out. But what we want to do is we want to have that long step so that we're past the near foot, and the dribble is going to occur beyond that. And so we want to take a long step followed by a long dribble. The other thing that comes a part of that dribble, we encourage players to allow that dribble to elevate just a little bit. And by letting it elevate a little bit, what happens is that it gives you a little bit longer to get to the basketball and continue on your way to the basket. So those are a couple of the things that are really important, we think, when you're attacking the basket.
Yeah, and the other thing, too, that you need to remember is that using your dribble and having that first step is something that you need to really hold on to and not just give up right away.
Yeah, right.
It's something that you can use to your advantage. And if you're just out there throwing the dribble down or dropping the ball as soon as you get it, then you've already given up kind of your most potent tool.
Right.
And the thing is that you want to hold on to that thing and use your first step, because you can beat that defender with one step if you know what you're doing. If you're putting that foot out beyond his foot, if you're going hip to hip with that guy, he's going to be immediately having to recover to catch up with you. Right. And if that's the case, it's going to be hard for him to recover because he's got to open up, take another step, and by that time, you're already by him.
Right.
So don't just drop the ball on the floor, because you've already kind of given up everything that now what are you going to do? You're going to do some street ball moves to get by him? I mean, that's kind of the worst game plan that you can have.
Yeah.
use that first step to get by the guy. And that's why you'll see guys like Russell Westbrook or Derrick Rose or whoever it is. They are explosive guys, but they are beating people off the first step.
They are.
And that's one of the things that you can do very easily. And it's something that you have to have kind of a bit of a mental switch too, because you don't want to be the person that is taking that long route around the guy to try to get by him, or girl to get by them.
Well, they usually take that to avoid contact.
Yeah. So,
and the thing is you want to look for that contact, because contact, more than likely, if you use that long one-on-one technique, is going to be on the defender. It's not going to be on you. They don't have time to get into a position in front of you to take a charge.
Yeah. So, I mean, you really have to be smart about what you're doing, because it's a little bit tactical to use that kind of thing against those people. And, you know, you see it so often, especially in like the younger leagues and things like that, is that people are afraid to get bumped, or they're afraid to have any contact or whatever. And it's like, you got to get over that, because one of the tools that you have is, well, there's two things that you can do. You can create space, and then you can create contact.
Yeah.
And both of those things are good if you are the one that's in control of it.
Right.
And if you are taking that first step and you're creating a little bit of contact, you also are putting that defensive person in jeopardy, because if they bump you, or if they don't respect your space, they will get called for a foul. And typically they give the benefit of the doubt to the offensive player, and they'll give that defensive player the foul if there's really any contact, unless it's like some blatant thing where you're lowering your shoulder or shoving or whatever it is.
One of the things that can happen there too is that if you take and loop around the defender, they may have time to get over and cut you off and get into a position to take the charge. However, if you come right off that hip, they do not have time. And what happens is that there's probably going to be contact there, or they're going to open up and get out of the way.
Yeah, and you know it's tough, because you don't if you don't have that mental switch in your mind to take the contact or create the contact, then you have to do some work in yourself to get there. And you know, it's not easy, but you really have to think about what are the tools that you have, what are the advantages that you have, and one of them is that first step.
Yep.
And if you have given that up by putting the dribble on the floor, then you don't have anything going for you, right?
Yeah, and you should be able to take them on either side with that move too. If you have to cross step them, you're still cross-stepping right to their hip. You know, oftentimes if we've got a pivot with our left leg and we're going to go to that side of the floor, we're going to have to cross-step them in order to keep that, you know, to go in that direction.
And cross-step is the same scenario.
Same thing. We want to go hip to hip, long first step, long first dribble.
Yeah, creating that distance and getting this, you know, actually creating some you know, not creating some, but you know, actually kind of going somewhere.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, they'll take that first step and it's just like a little dainty step right in front, and it's like that doesn't put you anywhere.
You don't go anyplace.
You've got to beat their feet and get out beyond their feet. Otherwise, they'll just be able to catch up with you and kind of corral you.
Yeah.
You step out beyond their foot, they're instantly in a lot of trouble, because they have to open up their body, they have to take a step to recover, and by that time, hopefully, you're out of there.
Well, you know, there's another way to look at this that I think is real important too, and that is anytime you can get the defensive person into a neutral position, in other words, you're side by side, you've got them beat. And so if you allow them to kind of get that leverage, then they're in the position of control. If you get to a position where you're at least even with them or a little beyond, it's over. It's over. You own them. You get to the rack or whatever it is you want to do.
Right. And we have a ton of videos on this stuff.
Yeah.
Namely, the ones that you should go check out are the long 1-and-1.
Right.
What is the other one? Hip to hip attack.
Right.
You can check out things like the hammer, which is another kind of...
it's a part of that whole thing.
Yeah,
to take defensive people off
like,
the body.
it's another step up with using all that stuff. Yeah. The diamond is another great one to create some space and be able to use that first step and be able to pull it back and do something else and then go again. And then you can use any of our offensive moves after that. So make sure you check out those for sure. Long 1-1, hip to hip, and the hammer are great ones.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is going to be a little weird, but we're not getting any questions, and I think that there's something going on with the live stream stuff, so we're going to stop right here, and we will see you guys again, I guess, next weekend. Hopefully they have things figured out by then, and we'll have answers to your questions. Make sure that if you have questions that you want to ask us during the week, just send them to us. We are at Shot Science on everything: Twitter, Facebook, Google+. We're on Instagram, and of course we're on Snapchat and stuff like that. So sorry that it doesn't seem like things are working right now. It looks like we got some people watching, but you can watch this video, and hopefully it helps you. But we'll be back next week. All right, you guys. Let's see. How do I turn it off now?